What's up, ladies? Welcome back to my channel. I'm your girl Lorna. If you're new here, welcome. Today for you, I have a super fun video. We're doing all of our Halloween trick-or-treating essentials, hacks, and safety. Now, I searched all over the internet to find this information, and I really couldn't find a lot. I'm like, you know what? If I'm looking this information up because I want to know it, I'm sure there's other people and my friends out there that want to know it too. So I've put together this whole video for you. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you're into this sort of thing, definitely consider subscribing and hitting that little bell so you're notified every time I post a video. I'll be listing everything I can find for you in the down bar, including my website. It has all my favorites in one place. And if you feel like depositing some positive energies and you like mommy videos too, let me know by giving me a big fat thumbs up. So if you guys want to see all of my favorite Halloween trick-or-treating essentials, hacks, tips and tricks, and most importantly safety, then just keep watching.
Like a fever, but I can't
Okay, you guys, so the first thing we're gonna be talking about is our essentials. These are either gonna be things you need or things that you need to do. So the first thing is check the weather. This is super important because obviously if there's gonna be a downpour and you have little babies or whatever, you may even reconsider, going out. And there's so many other alternatives you can do. They have like trunk or treats at church on different nights, and so there's fun games and things you can do at home. You can set up trick-or-treating stations inside of your house and just get a bunch of candy. So there's other things you can do if you don't want to go out or the weather permits it. So definitely check the weather before you go. So number 2 is having the proper gear. And I would say gear, the first thing you need to have is proper outerwear, which is jackets, sweaters, whatever it may be. And I would definitely, if you're not going to wear them out or they're not going to be wearing them with their costume, to definitely keep those in your stroller or in a backpack if you have older kids. I think it's super important for mom and dad to keep those on them at all times. Also, maybe you need a raincoat or a poncho or a rain thing that goes over your stroller if you're going to have the balls. Can you say balls? If you're gonna be bold enough to go out in the rain with your little ones, then definitely have the proper things like rain gear over the stroller or whatever it is, and of course, an umbrella. Okay, so the next thing you're gonna need is flashlights. Now, I suggest giving each kid a flashlight as well. They have really cheap ones you can get at the dollar store. They're solar powered. You can sit them outside and then keep those. I think they're actually stakes that you put in the ground, but people use them as flashlights. You can also just get little ones from Amazon. They come in like little packs of 4. You can get them from Walmart. Even the dollar store has like regular flashlights. So I think it's good that each kid has a flashlight so they can see where they're going. There's curbs and stuff, and God forbid, I'm just such a worrywart. I'm like, I don't want my kid to trip on the curb, crossing the street, and if somebody doesn't see them, I'm one of those moms, okay? So definitely have flashlights. Also, with the flashlights, you wanna make sure you bring an extra little baggie of batteries. I think it's super important. You don't know how long those have been sitting there, or if you do, I still would bring a couple extra. You just never know, you might get it dead. And I think flashlights are super important when you're maybe in a neighborhood that you're not normally in, or even your own neighborhood, like who can see in the dark, you know what I'm saying? Even in my neighborhood, we have like one lamp light. What is it called? Lamp post? I don't know, whatever those are called, street light. We have one in like our whole court. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyways, so I think it's important for us especially to have flashlight and batteries on hand for everybody. Okay, the next thing are things to be able to see your children. Now, you can get reflector tape, which is for bikers or whatever, and you stick some of that on the back of your kid's costume, because a lot of the times Halloween costumes are really dark, like in color. So I would highly suggest if they have like a black thing or whatever, or even not, just put reflector tape so when people are driving by, they can see your kids. So they're gonna have the flashlight, the reflector tape, and my other thing that I'm gonna say that they should bring, you should get a bunch of glow sticks from the dollar store, which kids love glow sticks, let's be honest. So it's not like you're forcing them to do something weird. So you can get a bunch of necklaces and bracelets, and they just have so much fun. They feel like it's super festive, but so your kids are gonna be set. Glow sticks, flashlights, and reflector tape. They're going to be seen from the sky on Halloween. Also, on Halloween, you know you are gonna be taking so many pictures, you are gonna want to use your phone. So make sure you have an external battery charger. Put that in your purse, your little crossbody or backpack, whatever you're gonna do. I definitely like to bring one of those so I am hands-free. Because, you know, especially if you have little ones that are trick-or-treating, you may need to open the bags for them, go crossbody or do a little backpack. And I think the backpack idea is really good because you can probably stick more in there. The next tip is to eat before you go. Now, you don't want your kids going trick-or-treating and they're like starving or whatever and they are wanting to eat like a boatload of candy. I mean, they will regardless, but it's a good idea for everybody to eat. Even you, mom and dad, should all eat before you go out trick-or-treating because, girl, you don't want to get all those extra calories either. So have a big full meal, but my next tip is to bring baby snacks. Even though you guys have eaten a full meal, I think little baby puffs or whatever, or little toddler snacks is a good idea to have because if your baby gets hungry, it's better them snacking on baby snacks or toddler snacks versus candy. So I definitely think it's important. And also, if you're gonna, depending on how long you're gonna be out or if you're going to a Halloween party and then trick-or-treating or whatever it is, I would bring snacks for yourself and for the rest of your family as well. It's just a good idea to have it on you when you're out so you don't have to get full off of candy. Okay, my next tip is leading into mom and dad snacks. Now, I don't know, like my old neighborhood, people would not leave their neighborhood. They would just stay in their neighborhood. So you would see all of the moms carrying around, moms and dads carrying around wine glasses while they trick-or-treated. And they would do this early, like when it was the first batch, like when it was super early. So you would see moms and dads. So that's a fun little trick you guys can do. If you're just staying in your own neighborhood and you want to enjoy your time, one little glass of wine isn't gonna hurt anybody. And it may make this little chaotic situation, especially when you have 4 kids, a little bit easier. This is me holding my wine glass. Okay, another thing you should do is know the route you're taking. So I just was talking about being in my own neighborhood. Now, I'm not sure exactly if we're gonna stay in our neighborhood this year. We haven't really decided, but sometimes my husband drives to another neighborhood. This neighborhood seemed a little dead last year, so we'll see what we're gonna do. But it's a good idea to decide which neighborhood you're gonna go to, know which blocks you're gonna go around so you have a designated area and you don't have to walk too far from your car, or you kind of just keep yourself centrally located so you don't get lost if you're not familiar with the area. And connected to that, my next tip would be set a time limit. I think it's super important to, you know, you don't need to go trick-or-treating all night long unless that you're totally into it and you have a good time. But I feel like as long as my kids get the experience, they get to dress up, they get to go trick-or-treating, they do not have to trick-or-treat for 5 hours. Like, that's not what I want to spend my time doing. I'd rather go home, bake some cookies, sit and watch a fun movie and have a family night. That just would be a better use of my valuable time. So I like to go an hour and a half tops. And I think you can get plenty of time in there. So you just have to decide as a family what works best for you. Hey, you may have bigger kids and 3 hours may be good for you. I don't really care about the candy. This is a hack alert. My next thing to do is so cool. So what you do is decide how much candy your kids are gonna eat. Let them eat whatever it is. I mean, however many pieces or however you wanna decide to do it. Then with all the leftover candy, what we do is we get Ziploc bags and everybody sorts their candy into Ziploc bags for the movie theater. So if you have a bunch of candy, and I pretty much, what I like to do is even if one kid got more or whatever, it's everybody's now. So we all divide it up. I make bags for mom and I put everybody's name on them. So also, this helps me so I don't go into the kids' candy and start binging on their candy when nobody's around. So it has their name on it, it's for the movie theater, and I am not as enticed to go into their candy. So this is a really great hack and it saves money at the movie theater as well. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is safety. Now this was huge for me. I was looking at all of the different safety things online and I felt like I just couldn't find a lot, you know what I mean? There was not a lot of videos and I just wanted to put this together for you guys so you could at least get some better ideas and options on what you could do. So I've compiled lists from other things, not even just trick-or-treating, and I added it to this list so you guys could be as safe as possible on, you know, your trick-or-treating night on Halloween when it gets really dark and there's a lot of people. So here are some of the safety tips. My first tip is to take a picture of your children before you leave. Now, I know we all have pictures of our kids, but what would be good to do is to take a picture of your kid in the outfit that they're in, so it's easier for the person to find them. So they, from head to toe, you can see exactly what they're wearing, and you have it in your phone. I mean, God forbid, I'm praying that this happens to no one, but it's so good to have that picture on hand just in case of all of your children before you go. So another thing for safety is you definitely want to consider that masks, create vision restrictions. So, I would decide how young you want to let your baby wear a mask or whatever, or you just have to watch out for them. I mean, you're their parent, you know what's best for them, but definitely keep in mind that it's going to be harder for them to see. And another safety tip is to not let kids wear headphones, even older teenagers or whatever, while they're trick-or-treating. I think this is so important because you have to be able to hear cards, hear what's going on, or if somebody's telling you, hey, stop, or whatever. So, masks take away your vision, and you definitely don't want any of your senses impaired. It's definitely not as safe when you're trick-or-treating to have some of your senses impaired. So keep that in mind for your little ones. Another tip for safety is to put your phone number on a slap wristband. And I'll show you guys one here in a second, but you put it with your label maker and you put it on the back of the wrist and you slap it on there, and that way you can have your phone number on your child. And I think it's a really good thing, but you have to tell them, you say, your big kids, it's easier. You're like, hey, the phone number's here. Most big kids know their phone number, but like for my toddler, he's very smart, and I could say, hey, if you get lost, this is your phone number. You just have to communicate with them and teach them, if something were to happen. I'm sure it won't, but just in case. Another thing that's super important, like discussing your phone number with your kids, is talking about safety with your kids. I think telling them all of the different things that they need to look out for, and that, this is a fun time, but it can also be dangerous, and that they need to know all of the things that will help keep them safe. Like if they can't see you for a second, to not panic and to look for, which is my next tip, your highly decorated stroller. So we put lights, we put bows, we hang little lanterns and all of that, so our kids can see us from far away and they know exactly where we're at. So I like to teach my kids, hey, so if you look around and you can't see me, try to find mommy's stroller, okay? And then if you don't know, you stand still and then you ask a grown-up, the closest grown-up, and say, I lost my mommy. So, there's certain things that I teach my kids. Okay, another safety thing to discuss with your kids is to have them partner up. So even though you're gonna be there, like for me, I'm outnumbered. I have 4 kids, but luckily I have 2 older kids and I have 2 babies. So I can tell my bigger kids, like, hey, like I'm gonna be here, I'm watching all of you, but you're also gonna help keep an eye on your partner. Okay, so I have 2 of the older kids and they'll each have a baby that they keep an eye out on. And that could be for anything, they're like, oh, baby's thirsty or whatever it is. We're all here, and I teach my kids, like, even though we're going trick-or-treating for you, we're all going out as a family. It's not all about you, it's about everybody. I teach my kids trick-or-treating is fun, but it's also a little bit of work. So you have to know that each one comes hand in hand, and we all have to participate and help out to have a good experience. Some of the things I teach my kids are, don't knock on dark houses, there's no point. I also teach my kids, do not go inside of a house. There's a lot of people, I feel like nowadays, they do like the inside of the front area in their house, they'll like decorate it and let you come in and grab the candy. That's a no-no for me, unless I'm standing right there and I'm going in, and usually I don't like to, because then I'm leaving my stroller outside. So we just prefer not to go in those houses. We say, no, that's okay, thank you so much, happy Halloween, and then we just keep trucking. So it's kind of up to you guys how you do it, but I tell my kids, if they offer you to go inside, it's always a no. Now, for you moms out there, for safety, I just like to have, even though my husband's gonna be there, some type of self-defense. I like pepper spray. There's little like keychain things you can keep on your keys or whatever, but I just like to have safety things inside. Like this day and age, it's so sad to say, but you just never know what's gonna pop off. So I would definitely consider having some sort of safety thing, self-defense thing in your stroller or in your bag. And the last thing for safety is, which I feel like parents have been doing for years, I don't know if this may be new to some people, but always going through your kids' candy, and anything open or like twist open or anything like that, just get rid of it. It's so not worth the risk, even though most likely it's fine, but still you can just get some more candy. There'll be plenty there. Just get rid of all of the candy that's open and just may not look as safe as possible. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed my Halloween trick-or-treating essentials, hacks, and safety video. I had so much fun doing this. I hope you got some really good information and things that you can use. And if you did, give your girl a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe and hit that little bell. And if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you so much. I so appreciate you. Give me a pumpkin emoji and let me know that you did, that you watched my video all the way through. I'm gonna list everything I can find for you in the down bar, including my website. And thank you guys again so much for watching. Until next time, I'm always your girl, Lorna. Bye.